All right, guys, no introduction here. I'm going to get right into this. So if you got a 1500 RAM or a 2500 RAM, here's how to fix that third brake light water leak, as well as a few other things on the 1500 that I've noticed that are giving you a water leak issue. All right, timestamps in the description. You want to skip right to the fixes. I'm going to go over the issues that I've been having and kind of show you what I've done, the research I've done to figure out what exactly is going on here. So I've had some significant rain over the last 36 hours. I finally noticed a slight water leak on my 1500 here. As you can see, I've got just a couple of trash bags and a few things weighing it down because I didn't really have anywhere to put it or any other way to cover it quick. This was just a quick, easy way to stop the leaks, and it did stop the leaks for me. So this is just an easy way to fix this. Let's show you the inside here and what is happening. Okay, so as you can see, I've clearly got the two cracks in the back window here. One is a little bit larger, one's a little bit smaller. These are mostly, as far as I can tell from research, just kind of superficial. They don't really actually affect the back window glass too much. But what these do tell you, though, is that your back window glass is flexing, or there is going to be some type of warping glue failure happening in the back window that can give you a leak. Just because you have the cracks does not mean you're going to actually get a leak. I've seen a lot of forums on the RAM forum saying that, yeah, I've got the cracks, but I haven't gotten any leaks yet. And you can also have leaks without any cracks as well, too. So what I did was I noticed that I just had a very small leak from the passenger side corner here. It was coming down super slow. I would take it like one drip every maybe 10 minutes. I put in some napkins here just to quickly see if I was getting any water. And this is still actually dry with that current fix. This has been up for about 36 hours, the black plastic there. Over here is where I had my second leak. It was kind of coming down right here. You can see some of the water was still just getting up in there. I put also a sweater in there to block any other water that was getting down. This rainstorm really allowed me to test out the entire back window to see where any of the leaks are coming in. I only had those two spots. I also checked all of the back seat and underneath the carpet under here to see if I had any other issues, and there was no other water getting underneath there. So that's my two issues on RAM 1500. Okay, on my 2500, I've got the solid back glass. This is going to be the basic tradesman back glass here. This is the back glass that you want to have. As far as I'm aware of this glass, I don't think I've really seen anyone complain about this stuff leaking. What can leak, however, though, is you can get up here in the headliner on both sides, and also you might get it up here a little bit too, right in the center. It depends on how you're parking your truck and where the water is flowing, and that's because your third brake light is leaking. Now that's actually a super easy fix. I've seen two fixes to fix that. The first one, of course, is replacing the gasket in the stock assembly. That's about $20. I didn't want to do that because I also wanted to pick up a whole new assembly, get new light bulbs in there, and as well as replacing that gasket requires you to scrape out the old gasket. I just didn't want to spend the 30 minutes to an hour, however long that took to do it, where you can buy an entire new assembly with a far better gasket with the bulbs in there for about $40 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to that. It is not a affiliate link. It's just a link to help you out. Make sure you double check that will match for your RAM. This is a 2019 RAM 2500 Tradesman that this works on. Tools that you're going to be needing to actually do the job here. For the 1500, you're going to need, of course, some flowable silicone. I've seen guys use like RTV or other types of caulk. You can find whatever you want. I like using the flowable silicone though because it really gets into a lot of the areas where it's leaking. Of course, silicone might be better for some situations, though I don't get any freezing temperatures here. I'm in Central Florida, so flowable silicone has worked for me in the past for a lot of different types of weird random leaks I've had on my cars and trucks, and overall it's held up really, really good. If you're in a cold area, I would say maybe look into something else. And then, of course, for parts, you're also going to need a new third brake light. I like to use aftermarket ones. I'll leave a link in the description for this one. This one's for the 1500. Of course, they're going to have a far better gasket than the stock one. I would never buy another OEM Mopar one after the issues I've learned about having pretty much on all the Rams have this issue. I've heard of this issue going back as far as 2008 for some Rams. It seems like the majority of Rams might get this issue at one point. I've had the same issue on my F-150s and a Tacoma, so it is not uncommon for third brake lights to leak. Also, you're going to need a blower. You're going to make sure that you have a very dry surface for the flowable silicone. For both the 1500 and 2500s, you're going to want a Phillips screwdriver or just an impact wrench in its lowest setting. Finally, I like to use invisible glass and paper towel. You can kind of use whatever you want to just clean the paint. Just use something that's very neutral, very light. All right, so this is very simple here. I'm just going to blow off the outside of this gasket. Then there are two screws, one here on the right, one here on the left. We just simply take those off, and this whole assembly just pops out basically right towards you, not up, not down, just right straight out and comes right towards you. All right, and there we go, just like that, the new brake light, or the new third brake light, is off here. So of course you're taking your old one out. I noticed my old one had some lines here of water getting in. I also noticed that inside of the gasket here, and this is a really telltale sign that I actually saw in another video, was that you could definitely see dirt getting inside of that gasket really, really quick. And that's how I started getting that leak there. And it was very noticeable, of course. This was really, really dirty and really caked in with dirt around this seal here. So what you want to do is, of course, clean this off really well. And then, of course, you can put it back on. Again, your connections are going to be right here. This just simply pops off and pops back into the new one. This should take you about, took me about 10, 15 minutes to do the first time of having never done it before. Very simple fix if you're just getting the left, right, and center leaks in the headliner. Of course, this is going to be on almost any ram depending on the back window you have, but on the tradesman, if you get it, it's usually just going to be that third brake light. All right, and just like that, I got all the surrounding area of that gasket clean. The new gasket is ready to go in with that new assembly, and it just simply pops right back in, and you put the 2 screws back in, and you are all set and ready to go. All right, screws are back in. That is all set. Also, you want to make sure that you monitor all the sides of your headliner. I use Simple Green to kind of clean my headliner out a little bit. I know there's, of course, better ways to do it, but this is my work truck. I don't really care too much as long as it's not still leaking. There's no musty or moldy smell in my cab at all. I caught it pretty early on, so definitely keep an eye on this. I would say just replace your third brake light before you get the leak with an aftermarket one, and you'll be all set. All right, so on the 1500s, I'm of course going to replace the third brake light. I don't think the third brake light's actually leaking on this truck, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's like a $50 fix for the part. Also, this is where you're going to put the flowable silicone. I've got no leaks on this side, but I'm going to do it over here anyways. And then this is where I'm getting the leak. It's around right here, and the other one should be around right here somewhere. Now, I believe it's just from poor installation or just poor glue from Ram's standpoint, putting this back window in. Seems like it's really only affecting the ones with the sliding glass window. Now, I don't see any noticeable cracks here. I'm not getting any leaking from the cracks itself. And I've also heard the shark fin can be an issue too. It's pretty easy to get caulking or that flowable silicone around that shark fin. That is rather simple to do as well. All right, just pulled out the 1500 third brake light here. You can see actually just a bit of white mold forming right there underneath that gasket there. I don't really see any major signs of leaking on the inside here. Looks pretty decent and dry here, but check this out. You can see where there definitely is a bit of water intrusion there. You can see a little bit of dirt getting in there, so that's not a good sign. I'm going to clean this up here. Also notice this, check this out. Here is that frame of that back glass right there. You can see the crack right there. So we're going to make sure we get enough silicone in there to make sure that stays sealed. I don't really see the one on the other side. I know there's a crack there somewhere, but I think it's going to be like right around here. But we're going to make sure we fill this whole thing with silicone. And of course, you can check your headliner from here as well. And let's see here. It feels pretty dry in there. So that is good. Let's basically just get this whole thing dry, and then I'm going to get some flowable silicone in there. So last thing to note too, check out the beefiness between these two gaskets. This is going to be the aftermarket one up here that I've got ready to install. Here's the OEM one, and check this thing out. This thing is like a giant sponge. I've got water on the inside there, super easy. So I would say just replace this, even if you're not having a leak, do that sooner than later. Why not risk a leak, just do it. The new ones, of course, on my 2500, it's pretty much the exact same, way beefier gasket on there. Well worth the 40, 50 bucks to do it. Couple of screws, shouldn't take you any time at all. But of course, this is Ram's biggest problem, is just this gasket on here is just awful. That new third brake light works great. Awesome. I'm not going to put it in just yet. I'm going to actually leave that out while I apply silicone on this bead here. I'm going to give it a little bit here to dry out a little bit more. It's still a little bit wet from when I washed my truck here. I want that to be a totally dry surface before I apply that silicone. All right, so I've got all the surfaces now clean. I'll be using a blower to dry this seal as best I can. I'm probably going to wait like another hour or so, make sure this is totally clean in here. Obviously, you can't really get into there too well, but I'll do the best I can to get that clean. Well, I still had some leaking issues here, guys, but check this out. I found the leak. You got to actually pull this little strip off your roof here, and if you can see down there, I can see an opening right in there, and that is an easy fix. Nice. Okay, and we are finally done here. So I ended up finding 3 areas where it was leaking. It was not leaking out of the third brake light. I think there was a small leak kind of getting in there, but it wasn't causing the issues inside the cab just yet. That would have been definitely causing issues. Had I just left that, I'd say give it another year or so, that gasket would have finally failed. I ended up finding 3 places, and I'm gonna have to clean up this window a little bit here. It's pretty easy to clean the silicone off though. But right here, there was a hole that went right down. It's really hard to get silicone in there. You have to just get a little screwdriver, pop this off. There's one little clip here, pops right off super easy. And there was a hole down there, and that was just a tiny little hole letting in a little bit of water. Also, it was really hard to find, but I had to pull the headliner off, but there was one small hole here is where it was separating from the cab, where the glass was separating there. Finally, the biggest problem I found after filling both these, the flow of water definitely slowed down considerably, but it did not stop. I found the third place. It's right dead center in that window there. There's basically these two little pieces of plastic that meet, and I thought that was part of the window. It might be, but when I finally basically put an entire really thick bead of Lexol on that whole thing right below third brake light, I finally got the leak to stop. And it was right in the center there that I'm pretty sure water is getting in. It gets underneath that channel, follows the channel all the way over, and it leaks over a little bit right there, but the majority of it comes right here and leaks off at the end of the channel, and that is where it was leaking from. So I sealed the entire center channel up. I did basically the entire left side, driver's side, and passenger side. And if you want to be on the extra safe side, check this out. This is going to be your RF receiver module. It's really hard to see, but it's back here, right behind the passenger seat, on basically kind of towards the middle. Right here is the middle seat. And I covered this with a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. You can get behind it quite nicely. If I saw another YouTuber who actually had his back window fail pretty bad right in the center, it leaked onto this RF receiver, and I think it's like a $1,600 repair. It is not a cheap repair. So quick, 30-cent Ziploc bag over that thing. It'll be fine then. Definitely do that if you want to be extra safe. Of course, I'm going to do it. 30 cents is worth saving $1,600 right there. It took me about 30 seconds to install. It's totally sealed now. And of course, I did remove some of the carpet from underneath the seat so I can double check and make sure I did get everything. And that is finally it, guys. So if you want to do this the right way, I would say get a really, good silicone, get a nice, full-size tube of it, and just fill in the entire thing. Pop these off. Make sure you get deep into those corners. That does go down about 1/3 of an inch. It goes down pretty far there. You need to make sure you get in there. And then, of course, seal that entire top channel up. I spent probably total on the fix for the $1,500, about $65. The $2,500 cost me $40. So no need to replace the windows unless the windows are actually cracked. That is the solution to get these things fixed and to finally not deal with the leaking anymore. Hope this helps, guys. This was about a 3-hour plus project for me to really figure out exactly where this thing was leaking, where the best place to apply the silicone sealant. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. Hope you can fix this and have a great day.